We're changing guitar strings today. They've been on too long. I have all 6 strings I'm going to do at once. I have a string winder. I have a wire cutter, a rag, and some olive oil. First thing we're going to do is loosen all the strings. So we're going to come up, put our string winder on here, and we're going to turn it to the right to loosen it. It'll become evident when you start turning it which way to turn it to loosen it. Just go slow at first. First, I have it on some pillows here. Loosen it so you can unwind it from around the peg. Okay, I have 3. The E, the A, and the D come from the other direction. Again, it's to the right, but because I'm facing the other way, it's left. Same thing. You can do it by hand if you don't have a string winder. Just know you're going to be turning. I used to, a couple times. Okay, now that we have them all off, we're going to take them out. What usually a string winder has is a little kind of grabber for the pegs. So if we look at our pegs here, from the low E to the high E, we're going to keep these pegs in order. Right? I'm going to hold the string. I'm going to pop out, grab this peg. That's going to be a low E. I'm going to put this all the way on the left. Right? A good thing to do is then we're going to save the strings. So you just want to wind them. In case we break a string in our new set when we're playing, we'll have a backup. So I'm saving these strings. Try and wind them. Just like second peg. Sometimes you get pull out. Low E, A, and D. It's easy to get them confused. You could lay. I like to do each side at a time. Here's my low E, number 53. I use Elixir. The Elixir strings are pretty good. All right. These are 80-20 bronze, and they are a light gauge. There's one. Put our peg in like this. I could moisturize this before I put the pegs in, but that's okay. You'll see with the oil. You want to grab it so that this fits and wedges it. Just push it down. Now that string is anchored. And it doesn't matter which way the ball is. It could be flat like this or like, sideways like that. I like it sideways like that, but it won't pull out on you. There's our A. I went ahead and put all the strings in with the pegs. The next thing I wanted to do was clean the fretboard off. Put a little bit of oil up and down, just a few drops, not much, just a little bit. And then you're going to rub it in. It's a thin t-shirt. You have a microfiber, something that's smooth, right? Just kind of give it a in-between. And this will condition and moisturize the wood. Okay, you don't need to soak it. And then back here on the saddle, right? I just rub it in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to peel them all back in one here. Okay, so now I'm going to wind the strings, and I have, let's just take the 5 from the A to the high E, pull them over that way, and this way we're left with now the low E. So gauging how much slack to leave it is the tricky part. That's where the experience in winding your strings comes into play. The technique, and then how to catch them up here on the peg. So let's go over that. That's important. First thing I want to do is get a good camera angle. Okay, what I like to do is make sure you're somewhat turned towards the inside, at least facing down. Just bring it through. Okay. Now I'm going to pull it taut, right? Pull it up. And then grab from the nut and pull it back down to like about the first fretish area. So you got some slack. Remember, you don't want to be winding the low E all too much. It's a thick string, and it's not all going to fit on the peg. Around and around it goes. So not too much, but definitely not too little, because you want it to get it around at least a couple times. So what I'm going to do, and it's okay if you do this, I put a little kink on the string at the back. I'm going to want this string to then wind below it. So I'm going to bring the top over. So the rest of the strand is going to be here. I'm going to wind it again, and then it's going to go below it. Right? So pinch it here. This is where having some strong fingers, some patience, your string winder, right? Now, we want it to wind towards the inside. It's got to be winding so that the string ends up inside, not on the outside, but inside of each peg. So, as I kink this, trying to hold it there, it's very fun, I'm telling you. All right, you'll see it starts to catch, and then pull it up. Once it starts to get around this string, and you could pull it up over it. You see in there, right back here, it's starting to go over. Right? So you're going to come now down, pull it this down. Well, that's so that's up. Okay. And then you're going to tighten it some more. See all this maneuvering I'm doing with my fingers? So, right? So now I'm turning left. Left. Now you're going to see it's going to catch that string. And we're just going to keep pulling until the string gets tight. Okay? Watch it comes over the nut and then starts to get in the groove. Right? And watch at the back by the saddle that this, once it's taut enough after winding it, check your peg. Sure it's laying nice and straight. And it's also on the groove of the bone, right back on the saddle. The peg looks nice and neat. If you see, it looks nice and neat. All right, I'm just going to tighten that up. Might sound a little buzzy now because the neck is not being, doesn't have the weight and pressure of all the strings pulling on the neck. So, and that's where this comes in handy. You could temporarily cut it off like that. There you go. Garbage. And then you could get closer when you're, finished. It's okay to leave a little slack for now. If it gets in your way, bend it down or cut it closer. So there we are. All right, now we'll do that for the A string. Now this string's a little thinner, so you could pull it a little bit more. I want to say for the low E, you could come down maybe like a pinky or so past the first fret, or like a finger, you know. I think maybe to the middle of the fret is too much, but just right past it. Then you'll have enough slack for the E. It's a little, I could have used a little more slack, but that's okay. Now for this string, see how high it is here? I'm coming now. Let me go down to the middle of the A from back here. Just kind of eyeballing that. That's all. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay. I'm going to kink the peg, the string on the peg, and this is going to come over it. Remember, the end of the string comes under, and the rest of the string is going to come over it. Try and keep it tight, and wind. Wind, wind, wind. Pull this up once it gets past it. Now this will be up in the air. Now this string will come in below and lock it in. You'd be surprised if you don't do this. The pressure of the string, it holds itself. So the tuning may get a little wonky once in a while, but it'll hold from the pressure and winding a bunch of times. So see, I'm still winding here. Still winding, I've got a bunch of slack. But that's okay. We're almost down in there. Put it in the groove of the nut. Give it a good... Right, check your peg back here on the saddle. Alright, there we go. Looks good. It's in. It's on the groove. Alright, 2 strings down. So you know where for your G string. Right? Strings are all on the inside. See? 1, 2, 3, all inside the peg. Inside on the headstock. Not outside, inside. Same thing here. Some slack. Strings are thinner. You have to wind them more. Alright, so now you're going to kink it so that's coming under, and that the string is over it. Here. Alright, kind of hold it, pinch it. Then, again, it would be left if you were facing this way. Alright. In the groove. Bend that down. Alright. Put some pressure on the string, feel it catch. There you go. There's your G string. Clip. So I have all my strings on. I wound them all. The strings are probably going to take a few tunings over the next day, 2, 3. They'll keep stretching out, and you'll have to keep tuning them. I would try and tune them, you know, at least 3 times after you're so they're not in tune. And then, if you feel confident with how you have the strings, you're going to then clip these just a little closer. If you have clippers of some sort, be very careful. Get these a little closer. Now you have a conditioned fretboard, some new strings. Tune them up, and if it sounds out of tune or something, it could be a neck adjustment that's needed. And I know this will get a little bit of a neck adjustment, which is basically taking a bit of an Allen key type of tool and putting it in. There's the truss rod that's in the neck. It'll bring it tighter and looser and pull the neck in and out, giving the strings some space or taking away space at the distance from the fretboard. So that would be if you turn it on the side here, the distance in between them. So they start to buzz, they're too close to the fretboard. They feel like they're too high and you're having trouble pushing them down into the fretboard, then chances are the neck is too bowed, like a bow and arrow.